Hello again. So part 2, H4. We had closed into this area of support, expecting potentially a pullback. We can clearly see we're in a massive uptrend. We can clearly see even from the RSI, even though the previous 4-hour bar was red, that there was no conviction to the downside. In other words, it was nothing like this in a downtrend with power. That's what I would call the break, pullback and break and close. Lovely RSI signal and a massive move. So that's the beauty of just two simple indicators, the candlesticks and the RSI on your chart. A reliable non-repainting indicator is that if you are in doubt and you've got plenty of time to enter your trade, just do a little bit of back thought, if you like, for want of a better expression. Just look at what happened to price when you were in a similar situation to this, and there's nothing like that to refresh your mind and get you into the zone. So we'd closed below a previous H4 candle, so this was now a extremely important support level that would potentially get tested as resistance. So we can put that on the chart there, and then we can continue to draw our levels. Now we've decided this might be a potential trade, so let's just go and start on the monthly and see where we are. So we've done what I said in my plan. We've checked this, we've checked for the reversals on H1M30, we're starting to check the higher time frames, we've checked the RSIs in agreement, we're good to go with checking everything else now. So what's the monthly telling us? Well, the monthly is telling us we've got a massive hammer to the downside. We reversed against it with what looks like an engulfing bar, but I'm not going to worry about looking at the price levels on that. Bullish engulfing bar. We'd close green, of course, on the RSI. We might as well draw some levels in here. So we've got a recent support level closed through. We've got a resistance level that we can draw on here. Now this if you're new to my channel, this little script that I use to draw the highs and lows, I don't share it. You won't find anything online free because not many people trade like I do, the highs and lows of candles. So you'll need to get it made make it yourself, or get it made by a website like Fiverr. I think it's spelled Fiverr. I know one of my followers has had it made, Mike, so he might like to sell it to you. Mine I coded myself. It's so rubbish that I'm embarrassed to share it. So that's it. Go and get it made yourself, or see whether you can buy it off of someone. Anyway, high up here, miles away from where we are, but it doesn't matter. That is the reversal level, high, low, lower, high, lower, low. So that would be the target level in order to continue up. We've got to break an old resistance, pull back and continue, but that's another story really. So just shove the levels in that you think may affect your price. We've got a support level here that we're attacking as we speak, or we were attacking. I don't know quite where it was in relation to that 6 AM bar. But what else is important? The recent level broken. As the price is moving up, so massive level of monthly resistance broken, and you continue to do this. This one was still relevant when price was down here, that support level, because we're knocking into that support and it held as resistance and finally broke through it. Up here this would be important for the longer term traders, and it's always best practice to fill these levels in, and that's about all we need on this monthly chart at the moment for our potential trade at 6 AM. It looks a mess, guys, like this, and I always try and say this: don't get frightened by all these levels and thinking, oh my god, I'll never understand what's going on. It's all about just stuff that may be above and below your price where you are, depending on whether you're going long or short. So as it stands, we've got a massive candle there. They've come back and tested some sort of resistance over here when this one broke, but look, what do I always say when you have a big candle? You have a pullback. Be prepared for that, guys, and capitalize on it. It's so simple, it couldn't be simpler. So as it stands, we're in a pullback in a swing 3, swing 1, 2, 3, or swing 1, 2, 3. Don't worry too much about the technicals of the swings. All we need to know is that if we zoom out, we've got a big down move here that this is pushing up against into massive support or supply, acting as resistance or a potential demand area as price will move up and through it. But it needs to break through this, so it's got a hell of a lot of work to do. So on the weekly, we just need to make sure these levels are filled in, so we will put them in weekly, and this weekly support over here, that might have been broken through when I considered my 6 a.m. trade, but put the level on anyway, and put this old support on here as well, because old support on the left hand side, it's not been tested or closed through until it gets tested and closed through. So they are very, very important, all these old left hand side levels. You can clearly see if we were down here, we've got to attack these levels, or down here should I say, we've got to attack that low. Okay, so daily chart, same thing. Always looking at the histo alert as well. It had turned from red to green the previous week, so this week we're continuing up. We can clearly see we had some big moves. We had a red week, then we've got the green week that broke the resistance here and here and is on its way up to the next resistance level to be tested after breaking through the support level here. There, I'm not sure whether we drew that one in, but we will. It's probably a weekly level as well as a daily level. And you get the picture now. We're building up a picture of what price is doing. We're building up a picture of where the potential gaps are. Next level of support. This is looking really interesting. Now I need to say the disclaimer because we're looking at live chart time now almost. This would have to break through this one here. I'm not going to bother going on the left hand side because that's we're only talking about this little trade here, but I would have to look at the left hand side to see where this what might be between that gap there. If that's clear air and this resistance level, that yellow line there, gets closed through with a little pullback, we've got a potential for a massive trade on that daily chart there. But we'd always have to look on the left hand side for the H4 levels to see what was going on, of course. I'm not going to do that now, but that's how I approach this. Always checking the RSI histo again. H4, need to stretch the chart back out. And now we're back, excuse me. H4 back to our original area here. Now I know it looks messy, but there are some super gaps there, look at that, and up to that level as well. So not a lot more we can draw on that in terms of, we've got the support there. We might as well put an H4 high on there as well, above our price. The flip zone might cause a problem, but that'll be highlighted in the H1, so no need to confuse ourselves with that. We know we're looking for long, so we don't need to worry about any of the support levels here. Keep it simple. Take the scroll off now. We're over here. I know it looks a bit messy, guys, but bear with. So that was our H4 low here. This is our H1 high that might cause a problem. We had confirmed to the downside on H1, so we need to confirm to the long side on H1 in order to continue. Notice it tested it here, but that would have been the trade inside here. It failed to break and close. It's come back. It's finally closed above the H1 and attacked that level. Notice how that level affected price. It's finally came back. It's gone up. So this is the approach to the charts. I don't want to complicate it too much, but as we go to the M30, because remember we are here, well, we're actually here where I had the original highlight, because that's where we started off. That was when the open of the 6 a.m. bar. So we just had this long-tailed candle here. So we could put the high on that because it will be significant on an M15 chart as we break up. So that's the lowest low. That's the engulfing reversal on the 30 that I talked about earlier, I think, in the previous video. So we're attacking the H1 at this point. We've got a lot of support in front of us, so this would have potentially caused a problem. It's a shame that's there because it does mess up the chart a little bit, but it was relevant at the time. You can see how price has used it as well. So that was a potential target for a lower time frame reversal trade on that. There's the M15 reversal to the long side. High, low, lower, high, lower, low, low, high, and close. There's the pullback on the M15. That happened prior to our consideration for the entry. So when we've got a confirmation to the long side, so then we can look at the 5 minute. Remember this was a random call, so it was just it's not been cherry picked at all. So at the 6 a.m. bar, when you consider trading, we had another reversal that failed to confirm on the downside on the 5 minute, but then it reversed and closed up on the 5 minute. Again, that's right on the 6 a.m. bar. We even had a little pullback. There's what I call my bust pullback, break and close above that, which would have been a consideration to the long side. And as you can see, the price has gone on up. That would have been a long trade, and there's loads of potential profit there. I know it's in hindsight, but all I'm after is 5 or 6 pips every morning, and that is my daily pip quota for making my living at this. Anything else is a bonus. So if you just go for 5 or 6 pips, or whatever your gaps will allow you to go for, when this gap was broken, you can see the price moved, the level moved. The blue line is just a pivot line, so forget that. It's nothing that we've drawn on our charts. That went 16 pips to fill the next gap from the M30 resistance. Support becomes fails as to hold as resistance. The price then blasted up through for another 18 or so pips, and so on and so forth. So that's how I approach my charts, guys. That's how you use histogram. You move from the higher time frames to the lower, always checking this is in your favor. We can even go on the 1 minute on this if we've got enough data, 28th, and look at the trend in place. Low, high, higher, low, higher, high. Here's an old supply area that has failed to become new selling supply and become demand. Old supply becomes new demand. Old support becomes old resistance rather becomes new support. That's a lovely, perfect 1 minute trend. Trends trump everything. Okay guys, if you've got any questions about this, you can ask and I will answer in a video if I have time today. Don't intend to spend all day in front of the charts, but if anything pops to mind, then let me know and I will answer it when I can.